If you made it through part 1, you know just how dark and strange live television can get. We've already covered shocking deaths, disasters, and even serial killers hiding in plain sight. What if I told you that the weirdest, most unsettling moments caught live on camera don't just involve tragedy or disaster? They sometimes push so far into the unknown that even scientists are left shrugging. Broadcasts hijacked by mysterious voices, emergency systems warning of zombie uprisings, and UFOs showing up just as the cameras roll. These aren't just glitches or hoaxes. These are moments that to this day, nobody can fully explain. So sit back, maybe turn on a few extra lights, and get ready for 10 more of the strangest things ever captured on live TV. The 1977 Ashtar Galactic Command broadcast hijack. Imagine settling in for your usual evening news in southern England when out of nowhere, the broadcast suddenly cuts out. The screen flickers, there's a buzzing noise, and then a strange, metallic voice comes through, claiming to be Vrillon from the Ashtar Galactic Command. For nearly 6 minutes, this otherworldly voice urges humanity to lay down its weapons and prepare for a great awakening. It warns that the world is being watched and guided by beings from other worlds, telling viewers that their time is running out to change their ways. What makes this even more unsettling is how completely it took over the TV signal. The station staff had no idea what was happening. Phone calls flooded in from viewers asking if they were experiencing some kind of invasion. Engineers later discovered that someone had hijacked the signal by exploiting a weakness in the transmitter system, a feat that required not just technical know-how, but serious equipment. To this day, nobody has ever figured out who was behind the message. Some call it an elaborate prank, others think it was the work of someone desperate to get a message out, and of course, some true believers insist it was actually an alien transmission. However you see it, this is one of the most surreal, chilling events ever to hit live TV, leaving behind more questions than answers and earning a permanent spot in broadcast legend. 2013 Emergency Alert System Zombie Attack Hack. You're sitting at home, maybe with some background TV on, when suddenly the program cuts out and the dreaded emergency alert system kicks in. But instead of the usual tornado or weather warning, a robotic voice calmly announces that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. That's exactly what happened in February 2013 to viewers in Montana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and New Mexico. Multiple TV stations were hijacked by this creepy, totally unexpected emergency alert warning of a zombie apocalypse. What made this so terrifying wasn't just the message, but how authentic it sounded. The alert used the official system tones, the right formatting, and interrupted programming just like a real disaster. People were thrown into panic, with some genuinely believing the apocalypse was underway. Things got even weirder when 2 days later, a radio station in Wisconsin accidentally rebroadcast the hoax alert after playing a recording of it.
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living,
setting off the panic all over again. It was eventually discovered that hackers had exploited weak passwords on the emergency alert equipment. Some stations hadn't even changed the factory default. Even when the perpetrators were caught, authorities never fully disclosed how they pulled it off, probably to avoid copycat crimes. This incident is still one of the wildest examples of how vulnerable and chaotic live television can be when someone with technical skill and a twisted sense of humor decides to strike. 2007 Australia. Jesus Christ, help us all. Broadcast intrusion. Picture this. You're watching a documentary about airplane disasters in Australia, thinking you're in for a night of tense but informative television. Suddenly, the audio cuts out, and in its place, you hear a man screaming in absolute terror, repeating, "Jesus Christ, help us all, Lord," over and over.
Jesus Christ, help us all, Lord. Jesus Christ, help us all, Lord. Jesus Christ, help us all, Lord.
This wasn't a few seconds. It went on for 5 solid minutes, while the regular visuals continued to play, making it even more surreal. The voice was identified as Preston Wheeler, a truck driver caught in a convoy ambush, but nobody knew how this old news audio clip managed to override the live broadcast. Viewers started frantically calling the station, but nobody answered. The network never investigated or explained what happened, and the incident was simply brushed aside. But for those who witnessed it, the effect was deeply disturbing. Imagine the sense of helplessness, hearing pure fear looped endlessly, unable to do anything about it. This was not just a glitch or a prank. It was a chilling reminder of how vulnerable even the most controlled media environments can be to the unexpected. Whether it was a deliberate act, a technical accident, or something even stranger, we'll never know. The station just moved on, but for everyone who watched, that night became an instant urban legend. 1986 HBO Captain Midnight broadcast hijack. If you think broadcast intrusions are only the stuff of urban legend, think again. On April 27, 1986, HBO viewers settled in for an evening movie, The Falcon and the Snowman, when the screen suddenly cut to black. Instead of the film, they saw a bright-colored test pattern and a bold white message. "Good evening, HBO, from Captain Midnight, $12.95 a month?" No way. For about 5 minutes, one of the biggest cable networks in America had been hijacked. The man behind this audacious act was John R. McDougal, a satellite engineer who was furious about HBO's rising fees for satellite dish owners. Using his expertise, he took control of the satellite feed from a Florida transmission site and inserted his protest directly into HBO's primetime programming. It was a bold, almost cinematic move, one that required serious technical know-how and just the right timing. The authorities eventually caught up with McDougal. He was fined and given probation, but his protest became the stuff of legend. For a few minutes, one man managed to outsmart a major network, exposing just how fragile these supposedly invincible systems can be. The Captain Midnight hijack remains one of the most famous broadcast intrusions in TV history, and a symbol of just how much havoc a single determined individual can cause when they set their mind, and their satellite dish, to it. 1987, Max Headroom broadcast intrusion. Now, if you want to talk about unsolved mysteries in live television, there's no story quite as bizarre as the Max Headroom incident. It was November 22, 1987 in Chicago. First, during the nightly news on WGN, the broadcast was suddenly interrupted by a man in a rubber Max Headroom mask. Max Headroom being a popular TV character known for his glitchy, robotic persona. The man stood in front of a spinning metal background, making odd movements and emitting a buzzing noise. The feed was quickly cut after about 20 seconds. But just 2 hours later, it happened again, this time during a broadcast of Doctor Who on a local PBS station. The same masked figure reappeared, but this time he spoke in strange, garbled phrases, mocked TV personalities, and even got spanked with a fly swatter by someone off camera. The whole thing lasted about 90 seconds before technicians managed to wrestle control back. Despite investigations by the FCC and law enforcement, nobody has ever figured out who was behind it or exactly how they managed to hijack not one, but 2 different stations in one night. The technical knowledge required was immense, especially in the 1980s. The Max Headroom broadcast intrusion remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in television history. A surreal, unsettling prank that's still talked about by conspiracy theorists, hackers, and anyone fascinated by the dark side of live TV. Prophet Yahweh summons UFOs on demand. Las Vegas, 2005. This one sounds almost too wild to be true, but in 2005, ABC 13 Action News in Las Vegas covered a man named Ramon Watkins, better known as Prophet Yahweh. He claimed he could summon UFOs simply by praying, and he was willing to prove it live on camera. So the news crew met him out near Lake Mead, with the cameras rolling and no special effects crew in sight. Prophet Yahweh knelt down, prayed aloud, and within moments 2 bright, spherical objects appeared in the sky. These weren't quick flashes or glitches. Both the reporter and the cameraman saw them clearly as they hovered and floated across the desert sky. The footage aired live, giving viewers a front-row seat to something truly unexplainable. This wasn't a trick of the light or a passing plane. The objects hung in the air long enough for everyone to focus in. People immediately began to question what they were seeing. Were these balloons, drones, experimental aircraft? If so, why did they move so strangely? And why did they appear right when the prayer finished? To this day, there's no solid answer. The news crew never came forward with an explanation, and the clip continues to circulate online, fueling endless debate. Whether you believe in miracles, UFOs, or just really weird coincidences, this moment proves that sometimes live TV really can catch the impossible. 2009 BBC Millennium Bridge Light, Newcastle. Sometimes a live broadcast just happens to capture something so bizarre, it sparks debate for years to come. In August 2009, viewers tuned in for a routine morning news report on BBC Northeast, with anchor Colin Briggs delivering the day's stories. The backdrop was a wide, live shot of the Millennium Bridge in Newcastle. Everything seemed normal, until a white streak of light zipped across the sky behind him, not falling like a shooting star, but darting upward and out of sight. The movement was fast, but it was clear enough that viewers immediately started recording their TVs and sharing the footage online. Some speculated it was a bird, a toy plane, maybe even a drone, but none of the usual suspects quite fit. Nick Pope, a former UFO investigator for the UK's Ministry of Defence, analyzed the slowed-down footage and couldn't find a conventional explanation. The BBC itself did a follow-up, asking for viewers' opinions, but never landed on a final answer. What makes this clip so captivating is how it defies easy explanation. It's not just a blur or a camera glitch. The object moves too purposefully for that. In an era of deepfakes and CGI, it's rare for a piece of footage to stump everyone. But this streak of light over Newcastle remains a true mystery of live TV. 2015 Oklahoma City fast-moving object. Early morning news can be pretty boring, but in March 2015, viewers in Oklahoma City got a shock during a routine traffic report. The Grand Casino Skycam was showing a peaceful stretch of highway when out of nowhere, a glowing white object zipped across the screen at breakneck speed. It was so fast the anchors didn't even notice it live. It took sharp-eyed viewers at home to spot it and start flooding the station with questions. The station took the mystery seriously. They replayed the footage, posted it online, and asked the public for help. Theories poured in. It wasn't a plane, way too fast. Not a meteor. Those fall, they don't fly sideways at a steady height. Not a bug, because you could see it behind distant clouds, and the light shifted as it moved. Military and commercial flights were ruled out, and it didn't match anything on radar. Even after frame-by-frame analysis, nobody could nail down what the object was. It was caught live, undeniable, and still unexplained. For a few seconds, the ordinary became extraordinary, proving that you never know what might happen when you're broadcasting to the world in real time. 2024 Hudson River Floating Orb, New York. Just when you think you've seen it all, Live TV throws you another curveball. In November 2024, a local New York TV station was covering routine helicopter traffic over the Hudson River. Everything was standard, the cityscape gliding by until a glowing orb floated into view. It hovered for a moment, then started changing color, from white to blue, becoming semi-translucent, before suddenly darting out of the frame. The anchor didn't react in real time, but once the clip was shared online, it exploded in popularity. Some viewers blamed lens flares, others thought maybe it was a drone or a weather balloon. But people who analyzed the footage pointed out that the object's movements didn't fit any of those explanations. It hovered, changed color, and then accelerated out of view in a way that defied easy explanation. Not even the FAA could offer an answer. In a world obsessed with identifying every strange thing in the sky, this floating orb captured during a live broadcast stands out. It's a perfect example of how the strangest moments sometimes happen when nobody is even looking for them. 2024 New Jersey News Orb. During Drone Report, live TV in New Jersey in December 2024 became the center of yet another UFO mystery. ABC News was doing a segment on the rash of drone sightings over the state. During the report, the camera panned to the sky and caught a bright spherical orb floating and hovering. This wasn't just a passing glitch or a distant light. The object was large enough and close enough that everyone watching could clearly see it. At the time, people across New Jersey had been reporting UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, for days. The sighting captured on ABC's camera was just one of many, but it stood out for the sheer clarity and duration of the footage. The orb moved in ways that defied easy categorization. It didn't drift like a balloon, didn't zip like a drone, and wasn't blinking like an aircraft. Despite a wave of online speculation, no official explanation was ever given. Whether it was something natural, something technological, or something truly unexplainable. This was yet another reminder that sometimes the world's strangest mysteries are hiding right in plain sight, just waiting for a live camera to catch them.